Hi, this is Andrea. Today I'm going to be speaking about love, specifically within the context of spirituality, religion. I'm going to be doing a few vlogs about love, specifically looking at the different contexts within which love exists in our world and within how we understand love. Now, within religion and spirituality, if you look at our understanding and the application of love, you will see that it exists as a feeling, and it exists around specific words that are used, ideas, ideologies. It is specific pictures, colors, concepts, beliefs. For example, within spirituality, you will find that love exists as an idea of how one loves yourself. How one loves yourself as a spiritual being, how one loves all parts of yourself as a soul, for example, as a higher being, as one's spiritual or higher potential. Love would also be experienced as who you are as a spiritual being within this world. So you will experience loving yourself for who you are within some spiritual design or path that you are walking. Love would also be experienced within spirituality, within how one radiates or shares love towards others and towards your world. So love would, within spirituality, be described, for example, as many say that they project and radiate love towards other beings. Some say that they can heal or correct certain world situations and problems by radiating, sending love towards that person or situation. The same thing can be said about religion and love, that if one loves others, you are in essence being a good person. If you are only doing good things, things that would be considered love for your world, then you are essentially a positive, loving, caring, good individual worthy of life on this planet. So obviously you also have understandings of what you've come across as meaning what is love according to your spiritual or religious understanding. Let's take all of that together and look at the practicality of what love is understood as within our world. Now, as you look at the world for a moment and you go and you look at the news, you look at everything on the internet about the world situation, about hunger, starvation, poverty, rape, war, political corruption. I mean, you only need to go and look on the internet at different news sites, sites where people discuss world and political events, economy, and you will see for yourself that we have a big problem in our world currently that we are facing based around the point of human greed, corruption, self-interest. What we are also seeing extensively is happening in the world is complete possession. What we specifically call mind possession, where people are becoming possessed within the mind, within a state of allowing one's emotions, thoughts, feelings, behaviors to accumulate to such an extent within one's mind that eventually you become possessed by it. That's what we refer to as mind possession. When I speak about possession, specifically mind possession, I'm not saying a demonic entity or being has taken over your mind and is directing you. That would have in the past been called demonic possession. I'm referring to mind possession, which I could explain to you for the next 2 hours using examples, but I encourage you to switch on the internet for yourself and type in violence, type in abuse, possession, current world events. Lately we are seeing extensive events happening where people are completely becoming possessed. They are hurting others, hurting themselves, killing, cutting, maiming. Mothers are killing their children. People are killing their partners. People are maiming themselves. They're cutting off their body parts and either eating it themselves or feeding it to other people. So we are seeing a radical compounding effect within the mind of the human being that is playing out in all of these extreme situations. So if you go and look at everything that is happening in the world, as I've just indicated now, you will see that we have a problem. And you will see that everything that has been done thus far, philosophies, religion, culture, and specifically the concept of love, has not made a difference. In fact, if you look at it self-honestly, you will see that everything that we are experiencing is in fact getting worse. So, bringing it back to the concept that we are discussing here of spiritual and religious love. If you go and you take your concept of what it means to spiritually love something or somebody, and you go and look at the news and the actuality of what is happening in the world, and you place all of that information here for yourself, in front of yourself, you will go and find that these 2 points are not connecting. We are looking at a practical problem in our world, an issue that we are facing that we have not found a solution to. Now, what I have done myself, I have been a spiritual person. I have been a Wiccan, I've been a spiritualist, I have followed a few, sort of spiritual type of religious trends. I have at some stage believed that if I'm a good person that feels and generates love within myself, towards myself and towards the world, that I will be able to fix myself as the experiences that I was going through, such as depression, anger itself, all those things. And if I projected this love energy that I could generate inside myself by having good, loving thoughts and, sort of sitting back and allowing myself to feel, you know how you can generate that feeling of love? I believe that if I generated that and pushed that towards others and my world, that I would be able to fix the world. But when I really went and looked at this love feeling that I was projecting and what was really happening in the world, I realized that this was a delusional experience that I was in. Because if there is really a practical aspect to what love can do for us, surely it would equate to a solution. We would be seeing the world situation changing, and we would be seeing horrible, horrible things that are happening to people not happening anymore because something changes it. Something about love actually has the outcome of changing these events. So then I started looking at, okay, if it is in fact my love that I'm radiating towards people and things and myself is not in fact changing anything. It didn't change anything for me. Let's start at that point, because I was still depressed. I was still in self-loathing. I was still cycle after cycle, year after year, placing myself in abusive life situations. And this love that I was radiating towards others was not doing anything. Half the population of the planet was still living on the breadline and or starving. So many percentage of women were being raped per country per second. So many babies were being left to starve. So many people were without health care. So many people were jobless. So many wives were in abusive relationships. And I realized then that it was not that I was not projecting sufficient love towards them, and it had nothing to do with whether they themselves were not accepting to love. They were in actual physical life situations, forced there to be there, either through their understanding of who they are, meaning what they were accepting themselves to be and what they were accepting their lives to be, or 9 times out of 10 it was due to economic reasons. Now, as I explained earlier in this video, with regards to the mind possession point, we are now extensively seeing people becoming possessed by the mind. So that has nothing to do with other people loving you or not loving you enough, or they're not being loved love energy in the air, that has to do with the individual and the individual's mind and how we participate and create the mind. Now, every single person has a mind. So even you watching this, you can go right now and take a pen and paper and you can sit and write out for me. In fact, I encourage you to come to the Demonology Forum and join me, where we can write out, my mind consists of the following thoughts, the following fears, my feelings, my emotions, my patterns that I've brought from my childhood that I'm living out now. So those are examples of the constitution and the dimensions and the construction of each individual's mind to make up who you are, who I am right here, right now. And that is the first point that I had identified, was that the individual within the design of the mind, within how I accept my mind to be, has become the problem number one. Problem number two that we are facing extensively is now you have the individual as who I am, as who I've accepted myself to be, plus you place this person in an economic system that does not support life, that forces people into situations of deprivation, abusing self, abusing others, doing horrendous things to each other so that some can make a profit. Greed. Most life experiences that people are in currently is due to just simply surviving economically, fear of loss of what you have, fear of not enough, fear of starvation. All of those things are forcing people. Yet again, you're welcome to Google this for yourself. Google, go to different news channels and look at the things that people are experiencing and look at why are they doing it. Why did that guy murder that guy? Why is that group being exploited by that group? And you will see for yourself, so that you can stick to the context of what I'm referring to here, you can see for yourself that we are in a world with an economic system that is not supporting life, where each one of us, you, me, every single person, is linked into and part of the capitalism system. You cannot escape that. So each one, to a varying degree, is being forced into a point of survival. Some live comfortable lives because they have money. Some are not so fortunate. Some live middle-class lives. Some are in poverty. Some are in absolute poverty. But each one is tied in and dependent on the capitalistic system. And it is becoming extensively more difficult for people to live within the system. And the abuse that is happening is escalating. So there we are looking at, this is the problem. Now we are looking at the redefinition of the word love within the spiritual context, spiritual and religious context. What would it now mean for us to effectively love ourselves, love thy neighbor? If we needed to bring these 2 points together, you need to look at the problem and look at, what is my definition of spiritual or religious love? How am I willing to change my definition of what love is to make sure that this problem changes? Or do I want to ignore this problem, keep this one, and adjust my view of the world so that I can still radiate spiritual love, hang out with other groups that love and that talk about love and that have ministers standing in the front talking to me about love and reading from textbooks about love, and pretty pictures that I can create and I can put on the internet, and I can write poems about this is love. I can generate it as much as I like to, but this is either my bubble that I'm sticking to that I call love, whilst the reality of what is going on in the world and even within myself, the reality continues and is the actuality of what I will either face one day or I'll keep living my comfortable bubble life. For a lot of people who are into spirituality and religion, my perspective specifically is it is to hide oneself from the reality. Because if you were participating in your physical reality day to day, taking care of yourself, doing your thing, taking care of the physical, taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, you don't need a religion. You don't need to read elusive pieces of text that speak about some ethereal form that is going to take care of you in the afterlife, but I'm here. And this thing that does miracles, but I can see I'm still dependent on the system. So nothing that is in the holy books and in the spiritual text has anything to do with reality, but one can make that choice that that is your safe mind space where you can meditate and you can participate in that material and place your mind in a bubble and just soak it all up and be content with this. For many people, this I've noticed when I do vlogs with regards to spirituality and religion. For many people, this is where they attack my videos because they do not like what I'm saying even right now. And even the response to this video is going to be, you're so negative, you have a bad vibe, you've had a troubled past, obviously, you must be on drugs, you must be in an abusive life because you're so negative and you need to see the light. All of that, because people who are in their happiness bubbles, their love bubbles, don't want to hear that this bubble does not correspond with the reality bubble, and that what I'm saying is, let's connect the two. Let's make our reality the actual representation of what love means. Then everybody here also gets to experience what it means to be loved, and love becomes the living manifestation of itself and not a separate bubble over here that I can pop my head into and participate in comfortably because I have the position and the right to do so, because I have the resources and I can access this information, while billions of beings over here don't even have the resources to participate in this bubble because, I mean, A, they can't feed themselves, B, they're being abused within the current economic system or within their family situation or by their partner, or they have nowhere else to go. They live and in the dirt and eat dirt. So they're not going to be participating in this, worrying about this. So that is what I am saying with regards to bringing the two points together, making this the living manifestation of what it would mean to love from a spiritual, religious concept, making it practical, livable, so that we don't have to carry on in the next 10,000 generations creating a massive problem here with the separate thing called love that is for the elite and for the lucky ones to participate in. Thank you very much.